Our next evaluator is the grammarian, and coming to explain to us how well or not so well we have used English tonight, and in his own very erudite manner. Please welcome Mr. Mike F.
Madam Mayor, Mayoress, Mr. Toastmaster, and all our guests, we have had a highly erudite night. We started with Madam Mayor introducing the evening. Madam Mayor, you are a consummate public performer. I will ask you to permit me a small suggestion, and that is a little idiosyncrasy of my own, a preference to avoid very, very. You are very, very welcome. We have. I just have this idea, and I think this is a theme for the whole, it's not just you, please. We're all guilty of this, and it echoes through the evening. The number of times the word very is repeated. And when I write anything, the first thing I do is cross out the little areas. And I try to do the same on this one. David is Toastmaster, a consummate performance, highly professional. Just 2 years this man has been learning to speak in public, and he made this evening run and look as though doing so was effortless. He did say developing confidence and self-development. Little repetition, which we would like to avoid. But David is the master of the pause. Even as a master, he managed to start with a crutch word now and then pause. He has a lovely idiosyncrasy, which I would encourage him to improve on, even though it is very much David. His word to, becomes to. To do this, to do that, to do the other. And it's a very small, it's quite attractive, and it's David, but well. Jeff, we have already said. Let's give him another applause. No! I wish to say, there are remarkably few ers or ums in the whole evening. And that is a tribute to all of you. Clap yourselves. Adiola, where are you? I love Adiola. She is a relatively new speaker to our club, but she has this great erudition. She did, however, offer us 2 alternatives. Is that 4 things or 2 things? What you mean is 2 choices or an alternative. Worth remembering. It was a tautology. And where was my Minsky's croissant? You promised me that you gave that speech again. Little lovely speech idiosyncrasy of yours, Adiola. It's something I first heard a nephew of mine was describing when he was at school. How a boy, whenever he was asked where he lived, he would say, Stanmore. Stanmore. He could never just say Stanmore. And when Adiola first came up here, she was a little nervous and her mouth was dry. And so she tended to do that. It wasn't an intention. And maybe a good suggestion to have a little drink of water before you start. Jill, you started with now. Where are you? You started, as you very often do, with your crutch word now, and like David, a lovely pause afterwards. Now the title of the speech. Peter, the most likely for you and I. No, for you and me, it's the accusative. My next question, Peter, was going to be. However, at the very end, you use that kind of slurring the language perfectly and legitimately when you say, do you really want to be a millionaire? Not half. funny. But when you're in the middle of your speech, let's have some nice grammar. This is about grammar after all. Tony Wynyard as Toastmaster, perfect. Well done, Tony. Angela, you did say thank you to Angela. And Angela said, where's Angela? Angela said thank you to you. I'm amazed by this. And then you immediately spoke to thank you, Angela. But now, if we're not careful, we'll spend the whole evening saying thank you to each other. And personally, I try and ban them all. There are so many ways of saying, well done. That was wonderful. I love the way you did so-and-so. So that says thank you. Let's avoid the repetition of the crutch words. Pasco, everything we want on earth is right here, yeah? Crutch word, yeah. Just try to avoid the crutch words if we can. None of these things, by the way, are intended to suggest that we are not perfect. We are perfect. We can just be even better than perfect. A little point about this is that when Pasco used the word erudite, we all clapped. And whilst we were clapping, Pasco, because of his newness to it, carried on talking through the applause. Pasco, milk your applause. Don't talk through. Nick, where's Nick? Nick, I am thrilled that you were here this evening for an upside-down reason. Because, strangely and interestingly, you actually used more ers than anybody else. Now, you're probably not even aware of it. Can I ask a question? Are you aware of it? No. No. In which case, I'm doing you an enormous favour by pointing it out to you, because you will now become aware of it. And I promise you that it will help you. You have a lovely, I'm not sure what is it, an American accent? French. It's a beautiful accent. And I really love the way you spoke. You used a couple of you-knows, which for a second language is amazing. You've probably been taught to bring these things and make it sound like it's your first language. But when we're speaking in public, we try to avoid the crutch words like you know. Where's Perry? Perry's gone home. Perry, incredibly perfect. Churchill's Toastmaster. Wonderful tonight, Churchill. Pichon started with a well and a pause. Alan? Where's Alan? Oh, yes. Alan, you were perfect. Born as a baby. I think you were born perfect. Colin, just as we've already heard, too short, but always lovely. Philip, where's Philip? Yes, thank you, Philip. I'm picking up my comment to you. You actually ended, thank you very much. So you were another person who said thank you. And as soon as I draw it to our attention, hopefully it will help us to use it less. Indra, all around us. Indra, all around us, you know. You say, you were talking about the CCTV. So just a crutch word, you know. Couple of verse nuns. Now, Indra, it's lovely to mention that Indra had a few verse nuns because they weren't that noticeable, and he's an experienced speaker. I'm going to jump to the end because I turned red. Coralie? Where's Coralie? Yeah. You two were born, and you were born erudite.